welcome back to the council. It's your girl Cosette,
Lexi, and Rachel.
and today we are all. It's kind of like when the group chat didn't talk about the dress code. Like we're all serving very different. I'm serving just woke up. You're serving like chic, and you're serving like
Groovy?
Coachella groovy, but like very cute. I just love that we are all on such different wavelengths right now, but I think that represents our personality.
I think
pretty
so.
well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I like it.
Today we're talking about something really fun and something that I feel like people don't do enough, and it is going to events solo, and also how to accidentally meet someone perhaps. Going places solo in general. We talked about taking yourself on solo dates in past episodes, and I think that is something that people are nervous to do, but it's so important to start doing that to get more comfortable with going out alone. I've taken myself to brunch. I take myself to the movies by myself all the time. A lot of times people are not comfortable in just being in like comfortable in their own presence. Do you feel like that, Rachel? You kind of just pointed at yourself.
So I feel like you girls know, but I grew up in a really big family, family of 8. So I've always been around so many people my whole entire life. It's always chaotic, and I love it. So it's not that I'm like terrified, but I definitely rather personally go out with people than just myself. It's like I feel like that's something I still need to explore with myself, like taking myself on personal dates. Just because it's like, you know, if you want to grow, you need to take yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And taking myself individually on dates would help me do that. So I know I could learn from you guys because you guys are pros at it.
I do love it.
I remember I was going through a breakup at one point that was what really motivated me to start doing activities on my own. And when I first started doing it, my cousins and my sister were like, you probably look like so weird, like out at the mall by yourself. Like, what? You're just by yourself? And it was really hard for me to get comfortable in just going to the movies by myself, going to the park, going on hikes by myself. And it's a little bit uncomfortable at first, but you have to sit through that discomfort, and then it's so empowering. And like, I don't love anyone's company more than I love my own. I love being by myself. So yeah, it's something that's very liberating and empowering. How do you feel about solo outings, Lexi?
I think I love them a little too much. Like, for as long as I can remember, I've always enjoyed doing things by myself. I love doing things. I have 2 younger brothers, so I remember always being with them, which I love. But I mean, since middle school and high school, my friends know growing up that I would tell them, no one's allowed to come over. I'm having personal time. And they were like, what?
That's something so many people struggle to do, so that's
it's
amazing.
like, no. And because my parents were always the parents I would say yes. So at first I would use excuses like my parents said no one can come over. And then they're like, that's a lie.
They're
and
like,
I was like,
no.
you're right. I don't want you to come over. I'm having alone time. And then when I got to college, it was even more freedom because I could go to the student theater by myself. I could go to coffee shops. I could it just felt so empowering to explore who you were and the things that make you happy by yourself. And I really didn't date until my junior year of college. So I had a lot of time by myself and getting to know me and just like being that way. And so that's something I really tried to make sure I don't lose in relationships because often, and we talked about this in a past episode, I lose my schedule and what I like to do, which is a lot of times going to thrift stores, trying new coffee shops. I love coffee shops. So when I'm alone, I try new places. And when I'm in a relationship, I often sacrifice that part of myself because I'm like, oh, well, do I really want to drive the 40 minutes in LA to get to that new coffee shop when I can just run down the street, go to this one and still be with like him? And I'm like, well, alone, I would. Alone, I would go to a museum. Alone, I would like do whatever. So why am I now thinking like because I'm with someone I shouldn't try that new coffee shop? So
yeah,
that's something I'm working on because I agree. I really value that time. I think it's so peaceful. You don't have to make conversation with anyone, and with the right friends you don't have to either. It's not like you're putting up a show, but you just get to focus on your thoughts in a different way that when you're with other people you just get to kind of like do the internal dialogue.
You're not on
100%.
anyone's schedule. It's like you could go to your flow. You know, you'd go to your beat, the beat of your drum.
And I think especially when you are in a relationship or you have a really busy schedule, you feel like any free time that you do have, you should be filling it up with being with that person, having quality time with them or seeing friends. And that's something that I struggled with for a long time, was filling my schedule and feeling guilty for any free time that I did have. And
That you would
so,
take for yourself.
yeah, so
Like,
something that my therapist made me do was block out a like 2 hour block at least once a week. So actually,
which isn't a lot.
No,
no, it's
that's
not.
not. That's
In
not
fact,
a
she was
lot.
campaigning for higher, but I was
Yeah.
like, we will compromise. But I think it's like now Monday nights, usually from like 6 to 10 p.m., I have blocked me time. And whatever offers get made, like I will usually not compromise. Like I respect it as if I was meeting with the president during that time. Like, no, like I'm busy, I'm
I
blocked.
love that.
If something really like that I want to be at comes up that night, then, or it's not Monday. Well, yeah, we've been, okay. I think it is Monday or Tuesday nights now. But
But Bachelor.
yeah, I'm like, well,
That's what I was
Bachelor has
thinking.
been
We
Thursday
meet one
nights.
night, but yeah.
But whatever, like I will rearrange it so that, oh, it's been like 4 to 6 p.m. lately on Mondays, but I'll rearrange it so if there's something I really want to do on a Monday night, that time block doesn't get deleted, it just gets moved. I really don't want to have to move it, because then I think I will kind of like take it less seriously, but
yeah.
that's something that I feel like is really important. So now when we talk about going, not just going out and having dates with yourself, but going to events solo, going to I've gone to weddings solo, I've gone to big parties, big premieres by myself, and there is so much anxiety around that, like walking in alone, especially if you don't know if you're going to run into anyone that you know. But there's also a lot of freedom and self-confidence, and a lot of times you wouldn't meet someone if you were with someone the entire time, because then you look very unapproachable. So actually there was this one event that I had gone to a few Christmases ago, and we were not granted plus ones, and I remember I was so anxious. It was, I had never I didn't have a lot of experience going to events completely solo before, but I was really anxious leading up to it. My sister was actually studying at a library nearby as moral support, and we were
Aw.
planning on hanging out after. But I went to this event alone, and it wasn't a traditional, it was more of like a traditional Hollywood event. It wasn't necessarily a social media event that I know I would run into a ton of people. But I was there alone, and it forced me to meet friends. It forced me to stir up a conversation with the bartender, to go up to some random couple and start a conversation with them. And I ended up making so many other friends that I wouldn't have met otherwise.
And I feel like you do now too. Like,
yeah,
you
now I'm
continue to go
totally,
to
yeah,
events and make many new friends.
exactly. And at that event in particular, I ended up meeting someone that I ended up dating for a year, and I don't think, or I know for sure he probably wouldn't have come up to me if I was sitting on the side talking to my sister. Like, when we're together, we seem to just be very like attached to each other, and not, maybe not the most welcoming looking, but I was completely by myself, and so we stirred up a conversation, and it opened up the doors to meet someone that I probably wouldn't have met otherwise.
Yeah.
And so I just think that it's very empowering. And
How did you two approach each other again? I can't remember.
so I actually, he had seen me standing there by myself, and so we were making eye contact a little bit,
Eye
as
contact.
we talked about
Eye contact.
in past episodes. And then apparently the way that he had told it was, I was speaking with this woman who knew this woman who he knew, and so he saw a mutual friend speaking to me and slid into the conversation, and they introduced us. And then I think he had asked like, oh, are you here alone? And he had brought like 5-6 friends, like he brought a ton of people.
Wow.
He was like, you could have brought your sister, like they didn't care. And I'm like, well, I wasn't told
Yeah.
that. But yeah, then it was a great way to meet all of his close friends and and everyone on the very first day that we met. But yeah, we ended up just hitting it off like that and exchanged numbers. And these two girls were actually like, kind of wingmanning him, these two older women. And it was very, like, I just remember loving telling the story that we met at a charity gala, like,
Yeah.
and I was just by myself, because you rarely have meet cutes these days. Like, everything is
Meet cute,
online.
yes.
But,
I love that word.
you know, that's in the past. The relationship did not pan
But how
out.
it met and that opportunity.
But yeah,
to have
that
a relationship.
opportunity, I learned so much, and I don't regret anything. But
Happened because you were solo.
exactly, it's something that you have to, it positioned me to be more approachable. And when you are in that solo environment, you have to join those group conversations. You have to really be intentional about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone.
So what's your approach when you're at solo events? How do you segue into groups, or what's your pickup line? Like, how do you insert yourself?
That's a great question. I would say,
Do you shimmy in with a drink like, hey, where's the bathroom?
I think like a subtle compliment goes a long way. There was this one.
That's a great tip.
There was this
Yeah.
one event that I went to, and I was by myself, and I was so anxious to go by myself. And there was this girl standing there, and she seemed so sweet, and she also looked like she was by herself, and she looked so gorgeous, and I loved her outfit. And so I said to her, I was like, "That dress is so cute," and it was actually a White Fox event. And I was like,
Ah.
"That dress is so cute. Is it White Fox?" And she's like, "Yes, your outfit is so cute. Is it White Fox?" And I was like, "Yes." And then I said, "Oh my gosh, I feel so awkward. I'm by myself here." And I just broke the ice
Yeah.
immediately. And she was like, "I feel so awkward too. They didn't let me bring a plus one either." So I just said to her, "Do you want to be each other's buddies for the night?" And she's one of my very, very good friends now.
That's
She spent
Aw.
Easter, Thanksgiving with us. Like, I don't want to say names, but
Yeah.
it's, you guys probably know who I'm talking about. But she's like, I think sometimes just breaking the ice and being like, "Hey, we're both here alone. We both feel kind of awkward. Like, let's just be buddies."
Mhm.
That goes so far. I
Yeah.
like
That's a great approach.
Yeah, I've just tacked on to someone as a buddy, like just a random girl that, of course, like some people will be standoffish and that's okay, especially if they are with someone else. But also like making a joke. I think that a lot of times you can just slip yourself in by making a compliment though. Like
I
it's
think
not that
that's
difficult.
really easy, especially like in the female crowd. It like
Yeah.
Yeah.
as
Not only
long as
good
you're genuine,
compliment, yeah.
because sometimes it's
Exactly.
very easy to tell like, oh my god, like don't be non-genuine about it, but like it's
Yeah.
easy then to start a conversation.
What
And
about you girls? Like what is your go-to for slipping in when you're somewhere alone?
Um,
Rachel, have you ever been anywhere alone?
I will.
Have you ever gone to an event by
Has she?
yourself?
Not really, but I will say, I did go to this one event, and like I did go with a friend, but she kind of went off and like did her own thing. And I was basically, I didn't know anyone else at this event, and I was like doing my own thing, and I was like, oh man. So what I actually did, like, if you're too nervous to go up to someone, people might go up to you. So, like, I was looking at the whole event, the party, and people mingling, and I stepped outside and I was just looking inward at the whole party, standing there, like, by myself by the pool. And then a couple people ended up coming up to me. So it's like, if you, like, if you are noticeably like by yourself, like people are very inviting too at
Yeah.
a party, you know?
That's true. And that actually reminds me of some great pieces of advice for being alone at an event. If you want to draw the energy to have people come up to you, one is not being on your phone, but it's also a lot of the stance. So being inviting, maybe like a powerful, like outward facing position. And they say it's very powerful when you walk into a room to scan the room, which seems like kind of what you were doing. Like you just scan through, look at people, maybe make eye contact with a few people, smiling, very inviting. You'd be surprised at how much people will clock and come up to you because of that. Because
those are good tips.
you can stand in the corner of an event, kind of have your shoulders turned and be on your phone, and no one's going to go up to you because you look like you don't
I
want to be
think the
bothered.
phone is
Yeah.
like such a good reminder, because when you're on a phone, no one wants to bother you on your phone.
Yeah.
And when you're off your phone, then you're ready to talk. You're
Yeah.
already ready to approach.
Exactly.
So I mean, in general, if you're around a lot of people, I think it's healthy to take a step back from your phone and try to make different connections.
Exactly.
So.
I went to an event recently, actually, by myself, and I was anxious about being by myself. And there was like, I think girls, especially, we just talked about this, like, most of the time will be very welcoming. And there was this girl there who was also clearly by herself. And we were at a social media event, and we're obviously both like social media creators. And I complimented her. She looked so cute. Her hair had like colors in it. And I was like, "Hey, like, will you take a photo for me if I take a picture of you?" And we ended up being photo shoot buddies, and we got such good pictures of each other the entire event. And we
Aw.
stuck together, and she was so sweet. And so a lot of times, like, if it, I mean, of course there are bad apples, but for the most part, people will be welcoming
Yeah.
and accepting. But
love
there are
that.
definitely some RBFs out there
Ah.
that you need to be cautious of. That's why just having an inviting stance,
Smiling.
yeah, giving the body language that you are okay to be approached and that you want to be
Yeah,
approached
open
is
your body
huge.
to the room to like people coming in.
Yeah, exactly.
Aw.
I don't know. These are
I don't really go because I don't go to events often, but I go to places a lot
Mhm.
by myself. Like I'm love going to restaurants, movies. Movies aren't really a great place to sit
Yeah.
and chat, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I love people watching. So hopefully, if anyone feels like they want to talk, besides the man in France, that they feel welcome to do that, because
Yeah.
I think not only is being out alone great for just personal growth and just like collecting your thoughts in a way. It's great to connect with people, as we've just highlighted. Like there's just so many opportunities then to, I guess a lot of times I talk to a barista and I'll talk to the person that I'm checking out with, and I'll make conversation. And a lot of way in a lot of times that's connected me to a coffee shop where we're now like regulars, and I love that feeling where we know each other's names, we know each other's like the order, and we now like know each other's like history in a way.
That's
we're like,
so
oh,
fun.
how's your wife? How's this? How like so that's always my favorite about like going to new places by yourself, because you're more inclined to make conversation with people. And like
It's so true.
whenever I know when I lived near Cosette and I would go to the coffee shop constantly, I was like, oh, I haven't met you yet. Who's this new barista? And I'd say, oh, how was yesterday? And I would go in almost daily with my dog. And when I did that alone, I was more inclined to make conversation and then I was the person that we constantly talked to. And then if you go in with someone else, you just are talking to your friend, and that's okay. But you miss that opportunity to meet new people.
Yeah.
So I think it's always a great opportunity to, even if you're anxious, to just think, okay, who can I meet and who can I become friends with today? And
100%.
I think we've all shown that we've done that. So.
I think for me personally, moving forward, I want to challenge myself and, go out on solo dates more, just because, like,
I think you're more than, I mean, you've done so much on your self-growth that I know that if you wanted to, this would be something next that you'd tackle and be like, yeah, absolutely, you're gonna, like.
And I know I could, it's just me going out and doing it.
Yeah.
And, I'm excited for that. I'm
excited to hear these stories.
It's me growing.
Yeah.
And it's growth. And growth is exciting.
Yeah,
growth
and
is
whether you're doing it
exciting.
for yourself to get more comfortable, to meet new friends in a new neighborhood, or if you're looking for having a cute little meet cute and you're single and you're trying to meet someone out at a coffee shop in like a place where you would want your future partner to be, you just gotta position yourself. Like find a nice seat or a nice booth where you are facing the coffee shop.
Oh my gosh.
Like be drinking a coffee. The amount of times that that's not the amount of times. I once went to a bar. One time, not the amount of times.
The amount of times
I once went to a bar and I sat at the bar by myself for like an hour, and I got a drink and I just talked to people and I challenged myself to not go on my phone.
That is,
and it was it was in Glendale.
Liberating.
Actually, it was so nerve wracking, but it was so fun. And I wasn't trying to meet anyone. I was single, but I wasn't trying to meet anyone. I was just, the idea freaked me out, which told me I needed to do it.
Yes. Yeah.
And growth happens outside of your comfort zone.
Yeah,
exactly.
So I encourage everyone to do something that
Ooh,
makes you
I haven't done that one.
greatly uncomfortable.
That's a good one.
Let's do it.
Anyway,
Let's do it.
Hopefully that just lights a little fire under everyone's butts and motivates
It's
you.
okay to be anxious about it.
Yeah.
It's okay to not feel comfortable going out somewhere alone, but it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be okay.
It's good for growth.
It is good for growth, and that's what we encourage here.
Yep.
But anyway, thank you guys so much. This was a quick one, but we just wanted to give that little reminder of how to meet people out organically in the wild instead of
I love
on
when
the
we use
internet.
those terms, out in the jungle.
I love it. I love it. Thank you guys so much for listening. We are signing off. This is Cosette,
Lexi, and Rachel.
Bye.